What is going on, everybody? How we doing today? Hope we're all doing all right. It is a Sunday night, so we are chilling. All right. I feel kind of bad because we sort of just left Oblivion in the dust, specifically the Oblivion remaster. But if I'm being honest with you, I feel like it's better to just move on from it. If anything, maybe I'll pick that back up at some point. But as I said, it is a Sunday night, and we are chilling. We are chilling like a bunch of villains. I missed church today. I'm a little bit upset about that. It was my wife's fault. She's laying in bed, chilling on her phone right now. But um, excuse me. Yeah, I missed church today. It's because I was just like absolutely beat. I've been exhausted the last couple of days. It's been it's been ridiculous. It's been ridiculous. But what is going on, Zachary Vered? I don't expect tons of people. Not that I ever have a ton of people in these streams, but I don't expect tons of people right now because we are pretty behind schedule. I actually I've the Sunday streams have been a little weird because I've been going to church, and I don't go to church in the morning. I go to church in the afternoons, and because of that, it kind of cuts up the day in a way that's tough for me to do the streams. I'm probably gonna have to do them a little bit earlier on Sundays, but I'm trying to figure it all out. I'm trying to figure it all out. Um, are Sing a Song and Letter to E-Girl in their right rows? Yes, they are. Yes, they are indeed. I decided to make because these things right here, they're left over from that stream where I tried to contribute to this dude buying a PS5. There was this one guy. I don't use the 4chan. Some people don't believe me when I say that, but I mean, I called it the 4chan. I think that should tell you everything. When I say the 4chan, what I mean is I don't check FTL. I know that's the name of the 4chan threads and stuff like that, but I have people who every now and again they'll inbox me something fun or funny that they see, and every now and again a little bit of shit talk. But I try to ask people if they're gonna inbox me something, don't make it something negative in that way, you know. Um, but because of that, somebody at one point sent me a what's it called, a Give Send Go project, or not project, but fundraiser, campaign, whatever you would call it, where a guy was trying to buy himself a PS5 and Death Stranding 2, and the theme of the campaign was me. I was edited into a bunch of stuff that I would assume is from the Death Stranding series. I've never played it personally. Oh, excuse me. But because of that, I decided I'd do. Oh yeah, it even says donos for our boy on it still. I kept it because it was like, whatever. I guess I'll keep it there because if somebody wants to donate money, they might as well get something for it. But I should probably update it as to where it doesn't say donos for our boy, so that people aren't thinking like, oh, I wonder who it goes to. Like at this point, it's just going to me. That just is what it is. But um, yeah. Even like the $10 MMA technique is kind of tough because it's like, how am I going to show you anything here? I can't really do that. I don't have room. Even what was it? $10 for 10 push-ups. Even that's a little bit of a pain in the ass because I can't do the push-ups on camera. I don't want to show you guys the entirety of my room, especially because sometimes there's like sometimes like it's not as like right now I see there's a plastic bag because there's waters that we got that it's empty, so it's just chilling there. I got the bag from dinner tonight. I got shoes just everywhere. It's like, yeah, I don't want to show you guys my room when it's in that state. Uh my wife my wife isn't doing her job. She just flipped me off as soon as I said that. But um yeah, like jokes aside though, like so even the push-ups, it's like, well, what I've been doing is when somebody sends me $10 for some push-ups, I take my phone and I record the video. That way, if anybody does doubt that I did them, then it's like, okay, well, I'll post it to Twitter or something like that. That's how I've been doing it. Like the other day, I think it might have been Wednesday or something like that. I could be wrong. It might have been Friday. Somebody told me to do 10 push-ups. They sent me $10, and I was like, well, all right, okay, guess I gotta do it. So I have a video from a few days ago, where I'm doing push-ups. Um, Delsim, hey Coach Scott, how do you armbar again? Fucking, I'd need somebody to show it on. The only person around is my wife. I'll go ahead, I'll armbar my wife real quick, and I'll let you know. I'll let you know. Good to see you live to end the week, says Dick. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. It's good to see you here. Good to see everybody here. You know what's going on, Delson? What's going on, Dick? What's going on, Zachary? I feel like I already said hello to you, but yeah. I don't have too much to do, too much to talk about right now. I mean, like, here's the thing. I've been trying slowly and surely to kind of put a little bit more thought and effort back into this. I'm trying to make it more of a priority again, just because I want to. You know, this is my outlet. MMA is fun. I love martial arts, but at this point, martial arts is a job. It's one of my jobs, you know? And because of that, I don't look towards martial arts as an outlet unless it's like, okay, I get to take a class, which I don't get to take classes anymore. I'm teaching everything now. Like literally I would be teaching every single class at my gym if I didn't tell people to fuck off. If if I didn't tell my coach, nah, I'm not gonna teach this, I would be teaching every single class at my gym right now. He begrudgingly had to take on classes himself, or he had to get other people to teach the classes. Like that's the situation I'm in. So martial arts is not an outlet. This is an outlet for me, you know? And because of that, I don't want to just constantly like get on here and be like, hey guys, we're just chilling. But it is a little bit tough because I'm still kind of in that state where it's like, okay, things are getting a little bit better. I can devote more time and energy to this, but also not that much time and energy. So I'm in a weird spot. But one thing I am thinking about is an all-nighter stream. Um, excuse me. Oh man, what the hell? What's going on here with these? That's annoying. Anyway, one thing I'm thinking about is an all-nighter stream. Uh, this. Oh, there we go. There we go. Anyway, one thing I was thinking about is an all-nighter stream. The reason why it would be an all-nighter stream is because, to tell you the truth, I don't want to do 24 hours on YouTube. I did a few 24-hour streams. Most of them failed in some form. One of them, I believe I slept for like 6 hours and I pointed the camera at my bed. There's some funny pictures that people sent me again from FTL, where like they had me sleeping and shit like that. Like I guess people will still post those on occasion. Those are pretty great. But um the next one I did after that, I slept for like an hour or two, and I didn't do it in my bed. I literally slept on the floor. like like in front of my I slept on the floor in front of my computer and shit like that. So like that one I count more as cuz like taking a nap on the ground for an hour or so, it's like all right, okay, I'll count that one as a successful one, you know. But then the last one I tried to do was a complete failure. I got to a point I was just like, yo guys, this ain't gonna work. I gotta get some sleep. I'm sorry. You know, I'd like to do another 24-hour stream, but I don't want to do it on YouTube. You know, I'd rather do it on something like Fish Tank, where I don't have to worry as much about like TOS and other things like that. That's where I'd rather do it. But um, I don't think I'm gonna be on the Fish Tank site. So instead, what I think I'll do at some point, because the summer is coming to an end, and I want to pack as much fun stuff for me to do in there. I think I'll probably do like maybe 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. or something like that. And then like if 5 a.m. comes around and I'm still going strong and I feel like it might be worth it, maybe I'll do another like 3 or 4 hours or something like that. I wouldn't mind something like that, you know. So what's the agent of the Mythic Dawn? What do you mean the agent of the Mythic Dawn, Delson? Um, you can always take it to the next level. I'm interested in martial arts. What do you mean by that, Benjamin Young? When you say take it to the next level, I'm curious about that. Um, Never caught the others. That's cool. You did some. Yeah, yeah. I did it on the Fish Tank site because it was a lot easier to do that. You know. It's like streaming on the Fish Tank site is fun because I won't get popped for showing like 30 seconds of a music video or something like that, or even just listening to music in general. I won't get popped for that. Um, and then in addition to that, like, I can say words that I can't say on here, and it's perfectly fine. It's completely, totally okay. Um, but yeah, I am putting more effort and energy into this, specifically more along the lines of my Patreon and my YouTube members. If you're a Patreon or a YouTube member, you're gonna start actually getting content again. I know there was like a 4, maybe even 5 month dry spell where you did not get a fucking thing. I feel really guilty about that. I apologize. Like I said, the first 6 months of this year, my life basically just fell apart, and I've been trying my best to put it back together ever since then. And I'm finally kind of sort of back to normal. Knock on wood there, knock on wood. But um, one thing I'm doing is I'm doing topical content, which is like news, news, current events, things like that. I'm about to talk about the Arkansas, whatever you would call it, not convent. There's an enclave. There's these white people who are gonna set up an enclave in Arkansas or something like that, and it's supposed to be like a whites only enclave and stuff like that. I wanted to talk a little bit about that for the Patreon. I'm also thinking there's gonna be a little bit more stuff on the channel where I just talk about news and current events and stuff like that. Because I've gotten to a point where it's just like, whatever, bro. I guess I'll just be like somebody who talks about that stuff. It's whatever. Who cares? I didn't want to do that at first, and martial arts content will never go away. But um, if I'm sitting here on Twitter and I see some kind of current event or something like that, something going on, it's better for me to do a video about it than to make a tweet about it. I've been shadow banned on Twitter for probably a year or so at this point. And then in addition to that, like, I'm not supposed to be a politics guy. I'm supposed to be a martial arts guy. So the people that follow me for martial arts, if they get my shit in the first place, because like I said, I'm shadow banned now. They don't want to see me talking about like the Arkansas thing. They're not interested in that. If they want to watch that, they'll watch Nick Fuentes or something like that. But at the very least, like, if I see something and I feel compelled to speak about it, I might as well put it on the channel where I'll make like 3 cents from it or something like that. And plus, you never know. Like me, like 1,000 views is not a lot at all. But like for me, any time where I'm able to break 1,000 views, that's good for me. Um, so it's like, you can get to that point where your videos are breaking 1,000, and then all it takes is a minor jump, and all of a sudden you're getting pushed by the algorithm to a certain audience and stuff like that. Not that I'm sitting here like banking on YouTube being something that's like a moneymaker for me, but it's also like, hey, why not? I might as fucking well, I guess, if I want to. Um, but I watched Haley do one, sleep through an hour of physical a physical alarm clock, then get sprayed with water by her mom. Oh man, that's crazy. That's kind of funny. Um, oh, if martial arts feels like a job, you can always take it to the next level. Ah, I see. And what's going on, Bonjour Skeet? Hope you're doing well. Well, it's not that martial arts necessarily feels like a job. It's that I have a job coaching. I need to get back into training. My diet is a lot better than it was. I finally, after all this time, figured out what the issue with my diet was. I'm basically doing what I was doing before, which is one meal a day, and I have like between 1,500 and 2,000 calories in that meal, but instead of doing it at night, I'm doing it for lunch, and then maybe I'll have a small snack after the gym or something like that. And like, just in a week of doing that, I noticed like a real change in my body, because that's just what happens with me. I can't keep weight on when I'm doing the right stuff. um but like, being in good physical shape is only half of that. It's only half. I need to be able to get I need to be able to get actual training in. Because that's part of my problem. Like, I'm gonna talk about the situation I was in for my martial arts career more in depth, and it's gonna be a patron exclusive. if I'm still around, that is. Like there's the way things are going right now, there's a real chance that I may not be doing this in a year's time. I might not have the time or the energy, or I might just lose interest or whatever. You know, this it's a real chance. There's a real chance given the way everything's been going right now. Um, but like regardless, like I don't talk too much about the situation I'm in with my gym, but one of the situations that I'm in is that there's been multiple fights of mine where I was basically training myself, you know? My last fight, I tell my coach, "Hey, I want to fight." And he's like, "Okay, cool." And he conditioned me, and that's it. Conditioning meaning he had me running wind sprints and stuff like that. I was in really, really good shape, but the thing is, I was coaching our kickboxing program back then. It was this weird fucking thing where we got rid of our Muay Thai coach and I replaced him, but not for Muay Thai, not for legit, like, hey, we're going to learn how to fight Muay Thai. But he decided he was going to fuck around, and instead of having legit, like, fighting shit, it was going to be a cardio kickboxing class that I would head. And I'm telling him I want to fight, and I can't get anybody to help me out. So I'm going into this fight like, man, you know, whatever. It's all good. It's all good. Like I'll just hit the bag and I'll have the only other guy in the gym who trains any kind of striking. I'll have him hold pads for me and shit like that. It's just a situation where I didn't have the support that I needed. You know, um, like that's it's fucked up, man. It's real fucked up. You know, and because of that, like it's just it's I'm in a precarious situation. I'm in a precarious situation, I suppose. But um, what does the martial in martial arts mean? Anything having to do with war, it like relating to war. Martial comes from the word Mars, the Roman god of war. Um, so you know Mars, Marshall, you know, there you go, there you go. You see Zachary Verrett says Marshall just means related to war and warriors. He beat me to it, and I didn't even realize he beat me to it. Um, but yeah, there's a couple of things I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be talking a little bit more about every now and again I allude to something that I was involved in before I met Sam and everybody. I am thinking about telling some stories from back then, and it was specifically when I was involved in like dissident political stuff. I've kept those stories under my hat for a couple of different reasons, but I have always wanted to talk about them. I've always wanted to tell them, and I feel more comfortable if they're behind the paywall as of right now. Um, and I am probably gonna start telling those soon, you know. But it's not just gonna be like stories. Like there's gonna be a lot of There's Peach Boy official says, "Yo, my second favorite streamer other than iDubbbz." Hey, I'm glad I'm at least top three. I'm glad I'm at least top three. Um, what was I gonna say? Yeah, I just want them behind the paywall for now because that's where I feel like they belong. And like the thing is, it's one of those things that means a lot to me, but when I try and tell other people, they don't quite understand. And because of that, they're just like, oh, like, you know, when you're telling somebody something that is actually like really fucking cool and really interesting, but people are just so self-centered. And I don't say that as I don't mean that in like a mean way. I'm not trying to be like I'm unappreciated genius or anything like that. That's not even what I mean it by. But because people are so self-centered and their attention spans are so shot that they can't actually listen to what you're telling them and understand the gravity of it. Um, like their eyes just kind of glaze over and they're like, "Oh, yeah." You know? Like this is what happens when you talk to boomers about anything. Like I can remember when the George Floyd riots were going on, and I'm sitting here talking to this one woman who's dating a cop, and like she's actually from my gym. She's dating a cop though. I've known this woman for like a long ass time, and she's sitting here talking about like, oh, and these Democrats are all talking about defund the police and blah blah blah. And I just remember basically affirming what she had to say. I'm trying to remember the exact like what happened and what I said. And of course, I'm doing a bad job of actually explaining this right now. So my bad for that. But it's just like when somebody wants to feel like they know something, when somebody wants to feel like they're correct, I guess is a good way. Like if you were to say like, "Oh, hey, you want to throw a punch like this?" and I basically agreed with you, but then I broke down what you were saying further so that you have a better understanding of it, right? Like instead of it being like, yeah, so what you want to do is twist your arm. I say, yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. You do want to flick the arm out like this, but you also want to make sure that you're turning into the punch as well. And you sit there like, oh yeah, oh yeah, huh? Again, like I'm doing a bad job of explaining it right now. I apologize for that, but I feel like you guys probably understand what I'm saying because you have parents, and I'm sure you've been in situations where you've been like, "Whoa, Dad, CNN? No, those guys are bad," and your dad's like, "Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh oh wow, oh," you know. I'm sure you've been in those situations. Fucking um, but yeah, like that's what happens when I talk about this stuff, you know. Like it's some really crazy shit, you know. And I forget if I was talking about it on I was probably talking about it on a an Instagram live, not here, but like it's the type of stuff that you would expect from like a novel that somebody wrote. It's the type of stuff you would expect from a movie or something like that, you know. Oh, excuse me. Oh man. Um. I ate so much food today. It's crazy. What's going on, gay guy? Yes, Scotty Rocker's in the house. Tonight, tomorrow, always, and forever. Hold on, I want to check my DM real quick. Uh um hmm. Hmm. Uh uh I don't fuck it. I'll get back to him later. Fuck it, who cares? Uh, that explanation is so on point. Breaking down a punch to a newbie at the gym is painful a lot of the time until they get hit with a leg kick while throwing haymakers. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Bonjour Skeet says Red Bar is watching. People have said that to me before. Somebody said that to me once before, and I have no clue who or what Red Bar is. You know, I feel. What is Red Bar, Bonjour Skeet? And if Red Bar is watching, I apologize for not knowing who you are. I don't know who or what that is. I appreciate anybody who's here though. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. But yeah, like when you clearly know more about something than somebody else, but they only said something because they wanted to sound like the smartest guy in the room, or like they knew what they were talking about or something like that, and you thought that they actually cared, you thought they were actually interested in the topic, so they sit here, they say whatever it is they were going to say, and then you chime in to either affirm and double down on what they say, or you're like, well, actually it's more this, you know. um like they like that type of shit, and the person is just like, oh yeah, oh yeah, and it's like, dude, shut the fuck up. Shut up. If you don't want to have the conversation, don't fucking say shit about it. If your whole thing is gonna be, oh well, I want to be the smartest guy in the room, the best thing you can do to convince people that you are actually intelligent is to keep your fucking mouth shut, because people intrinsically understand that not constantly needing to be the center of attention does is a sign that you are secure in yourself, and you have a modicum of intelligence. They say that it's better to stay silent and have people think you're an idiot than to open your mouth and remove all doubt, right? Like people are just dumb overall. Like you can't you just gotta Red Bar has a YouTube channel that talks about influencers. It's not bad. Oh yeah. Do you do you have a do you have a link to the channel? Does anyone have a link to the channel? I'm gonna stream snipe the stream sniper. I'm gonna stream snipe the stream sniper. Assuming you guys aren't messing with me, that is. Anyway, those dudes hear someone who understands shit they say and they just parrot it without ever learning. Yeah, and that's the real issue, you know? That's the real issue with that type of shit, you know? Red Bar is really funny. He's been doing it for 25 years. He's not a streamer. Ah, okay, I see. I see. He has a clip channel, but that's been dead for years. Ah, okay, I understand. Red Bar is completely banned off YouTube. Oh, that's even worse. That's even worse. Oh man. Um, wait, what? What's your consensus on the order of movements a punch should be thrown? Arm extension, then body rotation, vice versa, same time? No, it's always gonna be low to high, meaning you're gonna turn your leg and your hip, and then your upper body is gonna follow, followed by your shoulder. You know, shoulder is upper body, but you get the idea, right? And then the arm is the very last thing that goes out. You know, um, it's actually better for you to delay the arm going out as long as you can. You want to like be here and then throw that out there if you can, you know. Each punch is going to be a little bit different from the last. That's just the way that it is. You know, you're never going to like throw a perfect punch 100% of the time, but that's just the way that it is, you know. There's something called the power line that people will use to refer to the alignment of the arm, and the idea is that one thing is right behind another, right behind another, right behind another, right? Or right in front of the other. So I don't want to throw a punch and have it land like that because the power line is disrupted. Excuse me. I need to have my knuckles in line with my wrist, which is going to be in line with my elbow. If I'm trying to throw a punch like that, again, it's just not going to work. I need basically a straight arm here, not like locked out straight, but what I mean is straight line from shoulder to fist. And if I can do that while also making sure that the arm is the last thing to go out, that's how I'm going to get the most impact. That's how I'm going to get the best transfer of energy on my punch, you know? Um, I saw somebody mention something about fish tank though. I'm curious about that. I don't know what anything is. Fish tanks forced locales on me, and I just don't care what other people are doing. Yeah, yeah. Fucking, I think Jet and Ben probably just want something on the site right now, and because of that, they're not too worried about whether or not it's like weird, like people whipping their dicks out type shit and stuff like that. It was nice. It was nice to see Ellis Stanke on there. Not like here's a thing, right? Like I'm not gonna let anyone try to control me, and I know that Sam and Jet would not try to control me in that way. Um, but like I also was like, oh, like are they gonna be mad if I'm like palling around with Elistanque or something like that? I felt that way for like a couple of days, and then I was just like, dude, what do I care? So I was like, I hit them up. I played around with that chick, the Bruja chick. I forget what her name is. Was it Maria or something like that? Aren't they all named Maria? Aren't they all Maria? Um, no, but and I just did my thing, you know. I wasn't sure how they would feel about that, but it was cool to see them be like, "Oh shit, we got some Latinos who are trying to do what we do. All right, cool. We'll have them on the site." That was nice, you know. That was nice. Um, should I tuck my thumb behind my fingers for more stopping power? What, you mean like this? Like that? Sure, pal. No, don't do that. Don't do that. You definitely don't want to do that. Like a whip motion starting from the foot and ending with the fist. If I don't know exactly what you mean by that. I wouldn't I wouldn't call it a whip motion necessarily, but yeah, I mean you are throwing your weight. One Red Bar bit was going to some YouTuber's stand-up show, but the entire audience was Red Bar fans, and they all just made fun of the comedian. Oh man, was that Fuck, whoa, fuck, what was his name? That wasn't Tom Myers, was it? I feel like that's something that would happen to Tom Myers. That's I know the Come Town guys, um, or I guess now it's the Adam Friedland show guys and the Stavros. What was Stav's new podcast? You know, new as in like a few years old at this point, but he's doing podcasts on his own again or something. Stavi's World. No, but like I know they did that with Tom Myers. You know, they went to his show and they would like laugh at like how bad the jokes are and they'd heckle and shit like that. But was Red Bar did Red Bar do that with Tom Myers? Baby, if we go to Maryland again, we gotta see if we can track down this guy called Tom Myers. I'm gonna be on his podcast. I'm gonna force him to let me on the podcast. Yeah. Um, More mass in the center will result in a higher exit velocity. Pretty sure Punch Doctor is on my side with this one. What? Oh man. Anyway, yes, Stavi's World. Poor Tom Myers. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what Tom Myers is up to. You know, I never gave a shit about him, but that was like I could listen to Nick Mullen, Adam Friedland, and Stav all talk about him for hours. I don't know what it is. It's just like you get almost like a cozy vibe listening to them talk about Tom Myers. By the way, I have some chocolate chips. I was supposed to make chocolate chip pancakes tonight because I got this syrup, this homemade syrup, from this farm that I went to today, but I didn't end up making the pancakes, so I'm just chugging some chocolate chips occasionally. So you know, bombs up. I don't like Stavi's World, man. He's gone Hollywood. I mean, you only got so much time to make money, you know. And plus, Stav was always kind of a shit lib anyway. You know, all three of them were kind of left leaning, you know. Um, but like I think it's good to give them a chance in the first place, just for the simple fact that like you don't want politics brain. I gotta answer a very important question, but I'll talk about politics brain in a second. Um, where was it? Where was the somebody asked me, I don't know who. Somebody asked me, I don't know. Oh, yes, Quirt asked, Scott, how do you like your steaks and burgers cooked? Raw. I like them mooing still. The redder the better to a certain point. That's a good that I should put that on a shirt. I should have a steak and say the redder the better. That's I don't know. That might be $1 million idea there, boys. But yeah, like again, I talked about how I was involved in dissident politics and stuff like that, and that included like anti-Antifa shit, you know, fucking defending me and my friends and innocent people from masked communists that would show up to try and fight people and stuff like that. Not even fight people. That would imply that there's actually a real, like, oh, hey, you know what? I got a problem with you, and we're gonna settle it like men. No, they came to enact political violence on innocent people, a lot of them women and children and things like that. Um, and there is nobody who is more anti-communist than me, but also a lot of the issues that I have with the left are not even economic, because we can disagree about economics perfectly fine. The disagreements that I have with the left are ones where, like, people are allowed to call me cracker and white boy and all this other shit, but the second I have anything to say about that, well, all of a sudden I'm getting canceled and shit like that, you know? Thank God we had about a decade of like weird cancel culture bullshit where the left and, you know, anybody who was associated with them were, like, you know, pushing boundaries and stuff like that. We're kind of moving away from that. I think we're only at the beginning of that, by the way. You know, I think we'll probably have another decade or so of like the right wing version of that, including maybe even potentially a right wing kind of cancel culture. Which in that case, I would agree with it for the most part. You know, of course, as long as we don't start eating our own or anything like that. Fuck people who want me dead. Like, of course, I'm going to use anything and everything I can to take them out. Of course. Why wouldn't I? You know, of course, I'm going to cheer for their downfall. They want me dead. You know, but um, when it comes to dudes like the Cumtown guys, and that includes Stavros, even Stav to a certain degree, I think it's important to not be like clutching pearls over them. Like, they had some really good, they had a really good comedic podcast. You can tell that they're not complete and total shit libs. They're not complete and total, like they're not the worst of the worst, you know. Um, so, like, why would I hate them and why would I refuse to support them or anything like that, you know? I actually think Adam Friedland is like a really funny guy when he is not being like shitted on in like a character sense, you know? Like, you can tell he's actually like legit funny, you know? Um and I would love to be able to meet them someday. That's there's a couple of people that I was like, oh man, I kind of wish I got to meet that guy. One of them was Weck, you know. It was cool to see Weck on season 4 of Fish Tank for, you know, as long as that was going on. But I remember watching Sam Stuff during the Gumroad days, loving the fuck out of Wecking Ball. I would have loved to meet that guy, you know. I don't know how much he would have liked me. Truth be told, there might have been a fight there because he's got that kind of personality where I feel like, I don't know, maybe we would have clashed a little bit, but still, like, I really liked his stuff. So I wanted to meet him. And then another piece of that is like, oh fuck, like, damn, Adam Friedland and Nick Mullen and shit like that. That's really cool, you know. Um, but alas, it was not meant to be. Chaco Willink. That's pretty funny, you know. If not commies, then definitely socialists. You see, here's the thing too, though, right? Like, um, and this is a product of politics brain. I haven't really like gone deep into politics brain, but politics brain and coon brain are the same thing. Where like, a coomer, right? A gooner is what the Gen Zers are calling it now. Um, like a gooner is going to make everything into something sexual. You're not going to be able to pick up a glass of water without them being like, oh, you grabbed that glass of water like it was a dick and you put it up to your lips like you were going to suck it. Like, that's the gooner thing, is everything goes back to sex at all times. Everywhere, you know. Politics brain is similar in that everybody, like, whenever they're doing anything, their first thought is, does this person align with me politically? Does this person align with me politically? Is that it? He better, because if not, oh, I'm gonna call him a cuck. And you have it on both sides of that spectrum, you know. And the unfortunate reality is that the left is a little bit better at controlling that, where um you can have weird leftists who function a little bit better socially than you have, like, right wingers and stuff like that, because I think the right wing, in terms of its political theory, in terms of its praxis, is probably a better word, is still very underdeveloped. So you have a lot of people who they can't just like for instance, right? I used to do karate. I'm a yellow belt in karate, and the lady that I was going to, right, I went to a karate school where the owner and the head instructor was a lady, right? Nice lady, I like her. But she's like if she's not a commie, she's only like 2 degrees removed from it. She was like wearing masks. It was like 2022, 2023 when I first started training, and she was still wearing masks because of COVID. Like, that's the kind of person she was. Every class I'd walk in, and we would have to we would have to introduce ourselves, right? To people that we've already known for months, by the way. Like, every time we would partner up, we would have to introduce ourselves to this person who we've known for a month or more. And she'd be like, all right, so tell your partner your name, pronouns, and your favorite food. She would always be reinforcing that. She would always be reinforcing the indoctrination with the pronouns shit, right? Now, obviously, I find that shit to be disgusting. I find it to be reprehensible. But she was a nice lady. You could have conversations with her just fine. Perfectly normal, functioning person, other than that. And I didn't buy into that shit, and I didn't make a big deal of it, but I also didn't do it. I'd be like, my name's Scott, my favorite food's pizza. Or I might be like, my name's Scott, I'm 28, and my favorite food is pizza. I would replace it with some other kind of fucking information about me, to make it as un like as smooth as I possibly could. I would try and make it as smooth as I possibly could. And instead of her flipping out about it, she just let it go. Like, you see leftists who are a little bit better at being able to let certain things go than like a lot of right wingers and stuff like that. But like, I kind of veered off, right? I kind of veered off here. Politics brain is very similar to coon brain, or being a gooner, because um, everything always goes back to not just sex in general, but also whatever your favorite kind of sex is. Or when it's politics brain, whatever your political views are, whatever your ideal is, everything always goes back to that. And if somebody doesn't line up with it 110% at all times, well, then they're now the enemy and stuff like that. You got to be very careful of that kind of thing. At the end of the day, Cumtown was a really funny podcast. Those guys worked very, very well together. And part of the reason they worked well together is because they had the personalities that they did, including Stav, who was the human laugh track. But then in addition to that, he would be the guy who's reacting to Nick saying some really line hugging shit or line crossing shit, and being like, no, no, no. That made it even funnier at times. Seeing them clash in that way. Um, oh, excuse me. You writ politiques. Let me see all of. I I just want to be left alone. Oh man. Um, that's a deep meme cut. Nobody's gonna get that. Which one? Uh, you'd fight Weck. Seems like an okay guy and likes to skate and does fake security good. I mean, I'm not saying I have beef with him. I'm not saying that it's like, yeah, me and Weck, if we were ever to get around each other, we'd fight. But it's more like what I feel like happened with me and Nick Rochefort, where I could tell Nick Rochefort was not really a big fan of me. And the reason why is because he has a certain personality, and part of that personality is that he expects something out of you. I don't mean like oh, give me something for nothing. I don't mean that, but like, he'll talk to you. He's a really nice guy, but if you don't talk back to him, he's kind of like, "What's this guy's fucking problem?" Like that's Nick's sort of thing. I feel like he probably doesn't like me very much because the first time or two that he and I were ever around each other, I didn't expect him to want to speak to me, but he did. And because I was so caught off guard, I was just like, "Oh yeah, yeah." I kind of blew it, you know. I bombed socially. Um, and because of that, I can tell Nick Rochefort is kind of like, I'm not sure how I feel about this guy. That's kind of how I feel about Weck. Is like I feel like if he and I were in the same room, he might find some kind of problem with me because I feel like that's kind of part of his personality to a degree, you know. But then again, also he went on Fish Tank, and that was probably what he was told to do is go on there and start shit with people anyway, you know. So I don't know, you know. Um, Soy Jacks didn't exist when I went to school, but I had a rage meme face mask in high school. That's fucking based. That's fucking based. Um, my name my name is Cage, and I've drawn 57 out of the 83 Soy Jacks. Oh man. Um, Karate is cool. I've kept some moves from my training and striking, but on its own, pretty bad. A lot of fat to trim to make it a usable fighting style. Yeah, pretty much, pretty much. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I agree. You know, I did karate after having done MMA for a decade, and even before that, I had a little bit of boxing training. So, like, I know what's good in a real fight. But one thing I will say is that there's a lot of things from karate that you would not expect to be useful that actually are. You know, um, and you just have to know how to apply them, you know. Like I use certain blocks, like you can look at footage of me and Sam sparring and see me using some stuff that I learned in karate, and not even because I was like, oh, this karate thing will do well, but like I just kind of did it. And then as I thought about it more and more, I was like, oh shit. Like for instance, during season 1, me and Sam sparred in the middle of the house, and there were a couple of times where he switched to a lefty stance. So his lead hand was on the same side as my hand. So we had a natural clash going on, you know? We would clash with each other. We'd hand fight and stuff like that. And one of the things that I would do is I would clear his hand out of the way by doing that, right? And that's very similar to a middle outside block, right? Um, I believe that's middle outside. When we would do that in karate, what we would do is we would shield here because all the blocks in karate start with a shield. Really fucking weird. Why wouldn't you just go straight to the block if it came down to it? But whatever, whatever. It would be shield and then come around here, there, right? And of course, if something was coming at you there, the idea is you block to the outside like that so that the hand is here, you know? And what that does is it opens up the person a little bit. So instead of them being closed off here, well, now they're here and you have access to a lot that's over here. I did that on Sam a few times in our sparring. And I didn't even do it thinking like, aha, this is like, yes, karate, karate, karate. No, like, no. I did it. And then as I thought about it, I'm like, huh, that's funny, you know? Another one, dude, I'm so fat that I don't want to post footage. I almost want to sit on the footage and then get skinnier again and then post it and be like, it's okay, I'm not this fat anymore. But recently I went over some footwork where it's tough to show, but if this finger's your front leg, if this finger's your back leg, right? What you do is instead of stepping like this to move back, what you do is you step with the front and then the back, right? And what this does is it keeps you right on top of the person so that you can still throw punches instead of stepping all the way back like that and being, excuse me, and being just out of range to hit him with what you're trying to hit him with, right? Um, and one thing that you can do is you can employ what is very similar to what we called basic self defense number one, right? Which is what you would do is you would go here. So a middle outside block, you'd step outside, and then you'd throw a punch to, in this case, it was the body, right? It's not the exact same thing, but it's the same kind of cadence where in this, you use that footwork where you go 1, 2, and when you step back with the front, what you do is you raise a hand up here because if he's throwing an overhand, you can catch it here. And then after you do that, you step back with that back leg and you fire off across right down the middle, right? It's very similar to that on a certain level, on like what I would say is like um like a not philosophical level. I mean, I guess philosophical level. I don't know, but all the on an elemental level, all the elements are there, right? It's just that that's one of the few ways that you could actually employ something like that. You know, having basic self defense 1 to 10, and then intermediate self defense 1 to 10, and then advanced self defense 1 to 10, where there's a lot of like, okay, block, and then throw a punch, and then he's gonna throw something, and then you have to block again, and you're gonna catch the arm, and then you're gonna whop, and then he's gonna fall, and then you stomp, and it's like, no, you know, like the truth about karate is that it is aerobics. It's essentially Japanese Tai Chi. And that's not always the case. There are plenty of examples of styles of karate that are definitely combat effective, right? Kyokushin is a good example of one. Even Kyokushin has its problems, though, if we're being honest here. I recently learned about a guy, his name was Motobu, Choki Motobu, which is like a weird sounding name, even by Japanese, or in his case, Okinawan standards. He was Okinawan. Um, when karate went from Okinawa to Japan, what happened is there was a guy, I forget I forget what his full name is, but his name was Funakoshi, and his deal was that he saw in karate, right, something that he could utilize for teaching kids physical education, as well as something that he could make into a Japanese art, because karate was not originally a Japanese art. Not that I'm big on the whole, well, this came from here and that came from here thing, but you know what I'm saying. He saw a way to take something and make it into a nationalist symbol, and also utilize it for like physical education in schools and stuff like that. So because of that, he took out a lot of things that would actually be like worth it for training for a fight, and he put in a lot of, again, what is essentially aerobics, of the forms, you know, Taikyoku 1, Seido 1, you know, Pin on 1, stuff like that. Each of them has their own like I'm pretty sure every karate has Taikyoku 1, because that's like a boilerplate, like, you know, that's like the first kata you're gonna learn, because it's so simple, it's so easy to learn compared to a lot of the other ones. But like, that's what happened with Funakoshi, and that's why karate became what it is. You have dudes like Motobu, who actually was kind of a rival of Funakoshi, because in fact, we'll look up some of Motobu's stuff right now. um how tall your dick? Zachary asked. Yeah, karate training is similar to fencing, that trade back and forth. You shouldn't expect fighting to work that way. Yeah, like the truth is there's a lot of, in a lot of martial arts you're playing a game. In a lot of martial arts you're playing a game, and in some of these, right? Um, oh, hold on one sec. Sorry, I have to. I had to click on something. Shoki Motobu. Anyway, shit. What was I gonna say? What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, yeah. The like the thing about martial arts is that like you always devolve into playing a game to a certain extent. Like even Muay Thai is considered to be the gold standard of striking when it comes to kickboxing and mixed martial arts and things like that. But if you go to Thailand, the way they fight is not the best way to win a fight, if I'm just being completely and totally honest with you. And the reason why is because culturally, Muay Thai developed in a certain way, and because of that, these guys are not going out there trying to knock each other out in the first round. If something like that happens, it's usually like because somebody disrespected somebody else or something like that. The way Muay Thai works is it tends to be mainly a kicking art. I'm not saying you don't throw punches. There's plenty of punches thrown in Muay Thai, regardless of what archetype of Muay Thai you happen to be, because there's like 5 archetypes of Nak Muay and things like that. And one of them is a very heavy punching style. But um, like the idea is in round one, we're gonna take it nice and easy because the betting doesn't open until round two. Muay Thai developed that way because, excuse me, because of betting and because the fighters, instead of thinking, oh hey, like why don't we actually go out there and try and kill each other, they're thinking, hey, how can I make my money off of this and then fight again soon. So because of that, round one ends up being a round where they're almost just kind of playing around, you know, light sparring almost. Then round two, they pick it up a little bit more, and then round three, that's when the real fight starts. And then at the end of round three, what happens is both fighters go back to their corner, they take a seat, and then they talk to their fighter for a second. Depending on how the fighter feels and depending on how the corners feel, they'll turn around, they'll look to each other, and they'll give each other a sign. They'll give each other a signal that is basically like either A, nah, you got that. Please don't hurt our guy. Our guy's not going to try to win. And because of that, the last couple of rounds of the fight are coasted. They're just coasting. They're not actually really fighting. They're just kind of like again playing around like in round one. Um, or what'll happen is they'll turn around, they'll be like, I think my guy's got it. The other guy will be like, no, I think my guy's got it. And because of that, the last few rounds of the fight will be an actual fucking fight. They'll really be going at each other, you know? The reason I'm explaining this is to explain that like every martial art, even combat sports to a certain degree, is a victim of its own gamification. And that's why you see not that many Thai fighters go out on the world stage, even though apparently Muay Thai is supposed to be the best. And you have a culture where their national pastime is Muay Thai, and dudes are training from the age of 8, and they're getting into real fights and all this other stuff. You don't see that many Thai dudes on the international stage outside of like one championship or something like that, and it's because they don't want to do that because they know they can't compete with dudes from fucking Holland in a fight that is not like under that, not rule set necessarily, but it's more like with that cadence. Because what'll happen is you'll have dudes from like Holland or something like that, or Brazil or another culture where like they have a certain way of doing their kickboxing. They'll go to Thailand and they'll fight and they'll absolutely smoke homegrown Thai fighters because they aren't going out there thinking, okay, light sparring in the first round. It's wah, wah, trying to kill the dude, and the guy's just not used to it, you know. If it, like I'm trying to explain it in a way that isn't like all over the place, and I feel like I'm only halfway doing that. Um, but like the point is, every martial art, whether it's a combat sport or not, is going to fall victim to its own gamification. It's going to fall victim to the set of rules that are imposed to make sure that people don't fucking like lose eyes or have ears ripped off or something like that. And because of that, you're going to end up in situations where people are you're gonna end up in situations where people are not as combat effective as they'd like to believe they are or be. But um, yeah. So this is da, 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 bada bing, bada boom. This is
Who works hard sweats hard.
Old Spice swagger fights sweat. So coach thought I was...
Get the fuck out of here. Anyway, Choki Motobu drill number 4. I don't know what this is going to be like exactly, but you're going to see it's probably a little bit better than a lot of the karate out there.
Choki Motobu drill demonstration number 4 against step forward and punch high. Simply go to the center line to defend. As I take the center line and realize that it's occupied, bring it out of the way. Punch into the center line to defend myself at the same time, simultaneously attacking and defending the center line. If my elbow was high here, he could easily counter the elbow, and then I'd be in a little bit of trouble.
This is bullshit. I think this guy's probably just using this guy's name, because I've never seen anything like this out of anything that I've looked up with Motobu. You know, this is not, no. You see, I'm willing to bet this guy right here is a Wing Chun guy, right? I'm pretty sure this is Chinese. It's Wing Chun. This is Wing Chun. So this is a Wing Chun guy trying to pretend like this is something that Choki Motobu would do, when this is just a pure Wing Chun drill. That's insane. I don't know what the hell this guy's doing. I'm curious about this. This Wing Chun karate hybrid works now. No, it doesn't. No, it does not, sir. No, it does not. You see, this is what we looked up a while ago. We'll go ahead. There's a lot of talking here that he does, but like you'll see, right? Like he's gonna throw. That's not a bad idea. When someone tries to throw a punch at you like that, especially, and like this dude's throwing it weird and shit like that, right? And again, this guy's kind of a victim of like trying to be a karate guy who's also not throwing like a karate type strike. But like regardless, if somebody throws a haymaker at you like that, it's not a bad idea for you to come into here like that. You see what's happening, right? He's got this side defended because he's got that arm up. He's got this side defended because you can see that he's muting that hand right now. He's framed on that hand. He's got this leg on the outside of that leg. Like, that's actually useful. That's good if you find somebody who is trying to throw a punch at you like that, you know? You don't stand there trying to like, whoa, in the fucking pocket. You either move out or you move in so that you're not in the pocket anymore. And if you move in, you got to make sure that you're getting the better position. This is a very good position right now because, like I said, not only is he protected, but in addition to that, he's already got half a collar tie right there. He's got a foot to the outside, so he's going to have more leverage and more power depending on what he decides to throw. There was one thing from this specifically that I was not a big fan of, I'm pretty sure. I think I remember him throwing a weird elbow. I can't quite see that, but the idea, right? The idea represented right here in this still frame is good, you know? But again, you have dudes that you know, they grow up going to school in Japan who they use Funakoshi's methodology instead of Motobu's methodology, and they go and they spread that, which, like, that's just what's gonna happen, you know? I know all about Motobu. My brother teaches this shit. This guy doesn't look strong, probably Wing Chun. Talking about the last guy. Yeah, that last guy was full of shit, but this dude we just watched a second ago, yeah, like, this is, you know, but yeah, I locked spaghetti in my basement and forced myself onto it. Interesting, Bonjour Skeet. Deckers was super aggressive and always went for knockouts. Thailand wasn't expecting it. Exactly, you know? And the thing about Muay Thai too, right? Like I made a video about Muay Thai and I said in the video was titled something like "Stop doing Muay Thai, it's bad for you" or something like that. If you're past a certain weight, you should not be doing Muay Thai. I'm not saying you can't play around with it, but what I'm saying is what you need to do is find somebody who is more well-versed in Western styles and stuff like that, meaning like, you know, Dutch kickboxing, the type of Muay Thai they do in Brazil, which is a little bit better for people who are not 5 foot 5'8", like 5'7" Asian men and stuff like that, you know? Muay Thai is a great art. It's really fun to watch. I love it. I've done it for years, but I can tell you that like pure traditional Muay Thai is bad. I spent like 3 years or so doing traditional Muay Thai, the type of shit where the guy would get mad if I wasn't like doing my kicks right. Like for instance, right? When you throw a kick, it's hard to show. When you throw a kick, right? One What you're gonna do if I throw this kick right here, I throw that kick and I'm gonna pump one of my arms, right? Now in Muay Thai, um, depending on who you're talking to, right? Because there are minor differences, but depending on who you're talking to when it comes to Muay Thai, what you're gonna do is you're gonna drop down here. Some schools they prefer to go across, right? They prefer to go bang like that. Um, or and even an even better example, right? An even better example. I can't believe I started explaining a worse example. A better example, a teep, right? In fact, I'll go ahead and I'll show you, right? A teep. Muay Thai teep. So we're gonna go ahead, all right? So first off, right? This dude is probably 5'8", I would guess. This dude is probably about 6 feet, but he's not overly wide. He's not like gigantic or anything like that. So he could probably get away with fighting the way that this guy fights. He could probably get away with it, but it would be a little bit weird at times, right? We're gonna go ahead. We're gonna take a look at this teep. So you see what just happened there, right? So he raises up, this arm swings down, okay? Now, the way I threw my teeps for years was I would raise the leg up, and instead of the arm going down, I would shove the arm out here, forward, like that, right? I forgot my camera is up here, but I would shove my arm forward like that. The reason why I would do this is because if he caught the teep, or if he brushed the teep out of the way, or if it missed and he tried to move in after the fact, I would be able to stiff arm the guy in the face. That's the kind of thing that happens in the West off of kicks, is guys will eat kicks specifically to try and swarm after so that they can hit you with the punch. They'll allow you to throw a kick at their front leg so they can throw a cross right down the middle. They'll catch your teep, throw it out of the way, and they'll throw punches off of it and things like that, right? In Muay Thai, that's not something you see a ton of because the rule set in Muay Thai is different. Kicks are worth more than punches, and because of that, people play to the rule set. That's why you don't have tons of dudes that are considered to be Muay Mat or heavy punchers in Thailand. I'm sure you have a lot of them. Don't get me wrong, but that's why they're not like the main archetype, if you will, or anything like that. You know. It's just again like it's another example of how Muay Thai kind of limits itself because of the rule set, but the rule set develops for certain reasons, you know. Kicks are worth 2 points in Muay Thai. Punches are worth one. So I could hit you with 100 punches and you could hit me with 100 kicks, and we are basically tied. And then depending on what happens with those punches and kicks, I would win or you would win. Like for instance, if you threw a kick and you dislodged me from my position, meaning if you threw a kick and I like stumbled or something like that, they would score that higher. And if I threw a punch at you and you not only didn't lose your balance or anything like that, but if you smiled at me, if you like shook your head like, no, that didn't hurt, or like if you nodded like, haha, nice one, the judges would look at that and they'd be like, oh, he didn't really hurt him that much. He didn't hurt him that well, so I don't think I'm going to bother scoring that. That's not a scoring blow in my mind, you know? There's a lot of weird little things with something like Muay Thai. Excuse me. I have a bag full of some shit that I've been running over this entire time. It's bothering me, but Muay Thai kind of limits itself because of its rule set, and the rule set doesn't really exist for a good reason. I mean, part of the reason why the rule set exists is because of just the culture over there, independent from the gambling. But then the other part of the reason why the rule set exists is explicitly because of the gambling. because in Thailand you gamble on fucking everything, you know. Taylor, I talked to Taylor from Fish Tank recently. She's not from Fish Tank anymore, I guess. She unfollowed me and a bunch of other people, I noticed. But I asked her about some gambling shit and she got back to me, so I'm assuming everything's cool. She would absolutely love Thailand because it's the kind of place where like people are just making bets all the time. Like, oh, that beer bottle's pretty close to the ledge there, and it is pretty windy out. What do you say? 5 baht. Well, I have 5 baht that the wind is gonna knock that bottle over in the next 10 minutes. Like that's the kind of culture that just exists there. It's just like gambling's everywhere, you know? And Muay Thai is no different. And in fact, it's probably even bigger in Muay Thai. In Thailand, you'll literally have dudes, you have whales. You have whales in Thailand who will see that somebody is losing or winning and they'll make a bet based off of that and they'll go up to the corner. If these two dudes were fighting and this dude was in this corner, a whale would be like walking up to the corner to tell the cornermen, hey, if he wins, I'm gonna give you 200 baht or whatever because I'm betting on him now. You know, like that's the way it is. It's like Muay Thai is just a way for people to bet. The fighters bet on themselves. Literally, like the cornermen will sit there. They'll be like, okay, I think we can win this. All right, go put 500 baht on our guy. Or, oh, I think he's gonna lose. All right, go put 500 baht on the other guy. Like that's just the way it is. It's crazy, you know. And like again, I'm all over the place here trying to explain the way that it is, and because like it is kind of complicated. It's easy to understand, but there's so many different factors that when you start talking about one thing, you got to talk about something else too. But um Muay Thai is not what you should be doing if you're a 6 foot tall, like 180 plus pound guy. It's going to be the exception to the rule that Muay Thai, the way that this guy right here is doing it, is going to be good for you. You know, even my Muay Thai coach, he was 170 pounds, but he was also only like 5'10". I think he might even been 5'9" or something like that. So he had a body type that allowed him to get away with that. He just had a little bit more mass on him to make him 170 pounds. I'm 6 foot tall and I fight at 170 to 180 pounds, depending. When I do fight, that is. And I'm not gonna be sitting here like tapping my foot. A double jab, then a kick, and then a cross. Oh, he's still there. Throw another cross. That's not how I'm gonna fight. It's just not the way that things are gonna work for me. I can't be standing in the fucking pocket with these guys fucking around. This as of right now, I'm probably around 260 to 270 pounds. I can't be standing in the pocket with another 260-pound guy, even if I have a good high guard. That's gonna fucking hurt, dude. That sucks. That shit's awful, man. Fuck that. Um, it there's so many things that will there's so many things that will affect somebody's ability to do certain things a certain way. And there's always going to be good things and bad things in like an objective sense. Like for instance, what that guy who claimed he was a Motobu guy did, the whole, oh, you're going to come out to the outside and then you're going to strike at the same time and then basically just doing Wing Chun. That's never going to work. That shit's stupid. But hold on. Excuse me. Excuse me. Oh man. But there's also things that do work that I'm simply not going to do. Even like my jujitsu instructor. Again, he's the owner of my gym, right? He is 5'9", 5'10", probably about 160 to 180 pounds, somewhere in that range. And he is a small guy compared to me and a couple of the other people in our class. and he's constantly teaching us stuff that we cannot use the way that he is teaching us. I have to sit there sometimes and like I have to tell the other guy that I'm going with, like, look, like the way he's having us do this, it's going to be really hard for us to do it this way. You can do it this way instead, though. Like, it's easier for a big guy like us to move this way, so you can make it work by doing this instead, you know? Like, there's so many people, there's so many people that don't realize that like the way they're trying to have you do it is not the best way for them, you know? And everybody is like fucking it's just stupid, you know. Everybody like come again. I know what I want to say, but like I'm sitting here and I'm trying to talk about something. And because when you talk about this thing, you also have to talk about that thing. But when you talk about that thing, you also got to mention this thing. And then there's that thing that's good to talk about too. I'm having a hard time really pulling it all together in a succinct way, even if I think you guys understand. Um, but we're you see the issue I'm having right now is that we're moving into another conversation to be had about martial arts, and I'm like, do I want to just break straight into it, or do I want to like be like, yeah, so I'm gonna cut this off and then I'm gonna start talking about that? And I think I'm gonna start talking about that, right? Because I just want to make sure. I just want to make sure. What about a Taliesin guy in the UFC? He's 6'8" and does Muay Thai. He doesn't do Muay Thai the same way that, again, this guy. He doesn't do Muay Thai the same way this guy does Muay Thai. It's just like Khalil Roundtree. People say Roundtree went to Thailand and he came back and he was, dude, he's throwing those fucking kicks and he's yelling "Oe" after him. And yeah, he's not doing Muay Thai the way these guys are doing Muay Thai. You see that he's still very handsy. He's extremely aggressive. He's not throwing body kicks. In Thailand, they prefer body kicks to leg kicks. Fucking instead, Khalil Roundtree comes back and he's smashing dudes with leg kicks and stuff like that. You know, he's not going like kick to teep and then like knee as the dude bounces off the cage. That's not what's happening. You know, he's not going jab, cross, cross, teep, shuffle, shuffle, kick. He's not chaining things together the way they do in Muay Thai. It's just not happening. You know, he's doing it the way that a Westerner would do Muay Thai, which the way a Westerner would do Muay Thai is Dutch kickboxing anyway. You know, um, my Muay Thai coach is dope at Muay Thai and gets mad that I ignore some of his advice. I have at least 60 pounds on him in a Muay Thai ring. He'd wreck me, but I couldn't hit. But I could hit him like a freight train IRL. And even in a Muay Thai, even in the ring, like even in the ring, you could wreck him if you hit him like that. You know, and that's one of the things that I was about to talk about, Dick, is like the bias in martial arts towards smaller guys, and I'm going to explain that in a second. But training a martial art as a sport always kind of sucks. Train to end a fight and protect you and yours. Lift and do cardio for the same reasons. Yeah, and it's just like we're going through the gauntlet of things that people don't understand about martial arts, that if you do them for long enough, you begin to understand them, you know? And the first topic or first couple of topics I kind of like threw out there in a weird jumbled manner, you know? Maybe I should do a video on this, like 5 things you learn about martial arts as time goes on, you know? I'm gonna return to that. What about Silva? Where is Silva going? Let's see here. Best Muay Thai combos, Lumpini Stadium. Hopefully this will turn something up. Or maybe I should do highlights or something like that. Yes. Oh no, 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 no. That is not. Um, you s- excuse me. Um, I'm trying to find something specific here. You know what? Highlights. Highlights. So I think this is probably what we're looking for, right? Was Anderson Silva fighting like these guys? You can't see too much from here, right? But you see the pace, right? Was Anderson Silva fighting the way these guys fight? You see how they're standing in the pocket, right? I don't see Anderson Silva fighting in the way these guys are fighting. Especially like here's more of a kicking battle right here. You see the pace that I'm talking about with these guys? This must be round 3. Oh, hey. Like Anderson Silva was not utilizing the pace, the cadence, the variety of strikes that these guys are using in most cases. You know, it's just not happening. Let's go ahead. I'll show you a couple more, right? Oh, hey, nice elbow. We'll go ahead, we'll go back, right? But again, like, oh, this was a whole, like, again, like, sitting here, they're close enough to clash with each other, fighting in the pocket this way, you know? They're not fighting that way. You know, Anderson Silva doesn't fight that way. Khalil Roundtree does not fight that way. Whoever it was, the guy who's 6'8", does not fight that way. It just doesn't work. It's not gonna help them. You know. You ever got hit so hard your ears started ringing? Yeah, once. It was in a boxing match. I was winning the round. I won the round actually. But there was one moment that he got a nice shot in. He threw a left hook to my and it landed right on my ear. And I remember hearing what sounded like a car crash, like a car crashing into like a parked car or something like that. It was just like a kind of sound, and then there was a ringing. And it didn't make me dizzy or anything like that, but there was a moment where I was kind of like, whoa, you know? That's the only time that's ever happened though. Excuse me. What was I gonna say? But yeah, you see, Scott, did you ever listen to 3 Pac? No, I preferred 50. I preferred 75 Cent actually. Um, Fuck, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, but one thing I was gonna say is that martial arts have a bias towards small fighters and or just smaller people techniques, right? And the reason why is because the nerds prefer to see the technique. And I mean, I'm a nerd myself. I like seeing cool techniques and stuff like that. But this bias colors the way that we see everything regarding that martial art. If you're not like Mikey Musumeci, people accuse you of doing big guy moves, and they say you're actually not that good, and you're just using strength, and you need to use more technique is what you need, and all this other stuff. When the reality is, someone like me is not going to move like Mikey Musumeci does. It's just not going to happen. You know, we have one grading criteria that we utilize to judge everything, or at the very least, the sophomores, the blue belts, and the purple belts, and even some of the brown belts who are still a little bit insecure about themselves. They have one criteria that they utilize, and it's usually the criteria that they fall into, mind you. You never see a big purple belt. You never see a big brown belt like, oh, I'm just using too much strength. No, no. The truth is, like, a lot of the time, these guys are not using as much strength as you think they are. And if they really used as much strength as you think they are, you'd be you would shit yourself. You'd be like, holy fuck, I didn't know anybody could be that strong. you, you know? Um, but like, because of that bias towards smaller guys in jujitsu, people believe that somebody who is like 6'4", 250, 260 pounds is not actually that good at jujitsu, and they're just using big guy moves. When the reality is, there is technique in those moves. You know, people say, I didn't even know this, but I guess people consider Roger Gracie to be the greatest jujitsu athlete of all time. I didn't even know that. You know, I don't keep up with the Gracies. They don't know who I am. I can give a fuck about them. You know, so what? They invented the art. Whatever. I don't care. Fuck you, Gracies. Fuck you. No, but the bottom line is, like, Roger Gracie is considered to be one of the best ever, and yet he's like I forget how tall he is. Let's go ahead and look him up. Roger, Roger, it'd be Roger, right, baby? Roger Gracie. Gracie. Just out of curiosity. He is, yes, 6'4", 186 pounds. I don't know how. I mean, that's what he's competing at. But the bottom line is, he's 6'4". Apparently, he used to compete at 186 pounds at some point, right? I mean, super heavyweight in BJJ, that is... Why is it in this fucking bullshit? Baby, do you know how many pounds 100 kilograms is? Oh, fuck, it's right next to it. 221 pounds. 221 pounds. I did the math myself there, baby. I was testing you. I was testing you just to make sure. Yeah. No, but 221 pounds, right? Apparently this guy is the best ever. Apparently, I guess. I don't know. But he was 221 pounds at his heaviest. His lightest, let's see. Oh no, that's when he fought MMA, apparently. I would assume. Yes, when he fought MMA. How can this guy be the best if he's just using big guy moves? Right? The fact is, there's a lot of sore losers out there that are like 5'8", and they want to believe that their shit is the best, and that if you aren't able to do what they're able to do, well, it just means you're not that good. You got to get better. Get good. But then when they're faced with somebody who's better than them, who's bigger than them, instead of just being like, oh shit, I got to get better at imposing my will on this guy who's bigger than me, they just go, well, I mean, you're just using strength, though. And it's like, well, why don't you use strength? You know? And the same thing happens with striking arts. It doesn't happen as often. You're a little bit more respected if you're a heavyweight with punching power. I mean, pretty much all heavyweights have punching power, right? But it doesn't mean that people still don't kind of look down on it on some level, you know? It's a lot easier to understand a punch to the head, so because of that, a lot more people are willing to watch heavyweight striking and stuff like that. They're interested in it, but it's kind of believed that the best strikers are the lighter weights and stuff like that. And it's like, well, I mean, if you're talking about technique, yeah, they have really good techniques, and you know, there's certain mistakes that you can make at a higher weight that it's a little bit harder to get away with at that smaller weight. But also, how often do you see knockouts at 125 and 135 pounds compared to the knockouts that you see at heavyweight, at light heavyweight, and stuff like that? There's always going to be something that kind of comes back around. There's always going to be a flip side, you know? The flip side to the lighter weights is that they're actually less combat effective in the grand scheme of things, because at the end of the day, they don't have that knockout power that a heavyweight does. And that's something, I said this on Twitter a little while ago, and I'm surprised it didn't blow up with haters and stuff like that. But I would rather have one of the people that Floyd Mayweather 10-9'd his way to a victory fighting with me in a bar fight than Floyd Mayweather. I don't care that Floyd Mayweather beat this guy or that guy or the other guy. I don't care what that other guy's record is. That guy who throws heavy shots with reckless abandon, I would rather have him in a bar fight because he's going to put people down definitively. He's not going to be in the corner with the fucking Philly shell fucking shoulder rolling and like pull trapping the fucking bop dudes in the nose, and they're like, ow, that hurt, but I'm not, like, I can still fight. You think I want Floyd Mayweather watching my back? What's he gonna do to somebody? Fucking, there's no judges, there's no referees, there's no $1 million payday. We're fighting for survival here. We're caught in the middle of a bar for some reason. I don't know why. I'm not a bar guy in the first place, but and for some reason we got to get out of here. But there's people taking swings at us. Like it's not gonna. Like, I'm all set, Floyd. You can stay your ass home. You know. Like literally. Like let's see here. Let's go ahead. Right. Oh boy, it's gonna fucking. Oh yeah, I forgot. You can. Yeah. So like, let's see here, right? Conor McGregor. I would much rather have Conor McGregor. That dude, even nowadays, could put somebody to sleep. Andre Berto, don't really know who he is. Manny Pacquiao, yeah. Even now, the dude's how old at this point? 46 years old. I'll take him. I'll fucking take him. You know. Maidana, again, don't know too much about him. I'm trying to find people. Even Canelo, it's like, I mean, I feel like Canelo has knockout power compared to Floyd Mayweather. But like, you know, like Canelo's more known for his defensive capabilities. But like TKO on McGregor, unanimous decision. KO, I remember this. This was a fight that when it happened, people were pissed off because what happened is Victor Ortiz apparently did something that was considered to be illegal and dirty, but he didn't mean to do it. It just kind of happened by accident. So he decides he's going to give Mayweather a hug. And after Mayweather hugs this dude, he steps back and throws a fucking two-piece on this guy. And he knocked him out. Fucking, so that's why here is a KO. Decision, KO. All right. There's another one. That's three so far, two of which are legit. The last one is just, you know. And even the Conor McGregor one, it was more that Conor was tired and it was not going to be good for him. It was in round 10 of 12 or so. Yes, 10 of 12. A minute 5 into the round. That wouldn't have been a good last 3 rounds for Conor. And even then, I can still remember people were pissed about the stoppage because it was less that Conor was getting his ass beat and more that he was about to get his ass beat because he was tired and Floyd was still fresh. So he started piecing him up a little bit, you know? What else is there? KO, finally. All right, another KO. You just see how many decisions there are versus knockouts. It's just, you know, I guarantee you any of these guys, including dudes that he KO'd, would probably be better to have in a situation where your life is actually on the line than fucking Floyd Mayweather, you know? Conor Adams shook the first few rounds. He just trained wrong for boxing. Yeah, that was Conor's. Excuse me. That was Conor's problem. Was that the way he trained and the way he game planned later in his career was not good. You know, with like the Mayweather fight and the Habib fight, Conor could have beat Habib. Justin Gaethje could have beat Habib Nurmagomedov. Like I actually think Justin Gaethje had a better chance of beating Habib than Conor did. But I do think Conor could have beat him. But why do I forget Conor's trainer's name? I forget his name for some reason. Guy was kind of a celebrity alongside Conor for a little bit out of a straight blast gym in Ireland. But No, but like with Habib, his trainer, damn, his name's on the tip of my tongue too. That's the most annoying piece about it. His trainer said that part of the problem was that they didn't train to win. They more so trained to not lose. And those are two different things, you know? And that's something that I've been trying to make sure I train into my kids is like, look, don't just train to not lose, train to win, you know? Always go for that top position. Always think, hey, where am I going after I do this? After I hit this takedown, after I hit this sprawl. Don't just sprawl and be like, wow, oh damn, I actually sprawled out. I didn't think I'd get this far, you know? Those are two different things, you know. I'd never step in the ring with them, but in the street, I'll fight Mayweather tomorrow, and I'm a nobody. I mean, the ring and the street are not that different, you know. The this is something I've wanted to make a video about for a little while too, is the real difference between ring sports and a street fight. The real difference isn't that you're allowed to pull hair, that you're allowed to, gouge eyes and stuff like that. You don't need training. You don't need training to fucking pull hair and stuff like that. You don't need training to gouge eyes and other things like that. And in fact, if you're training in mixed martial arts, if you're training boxing, if you're training kickboxing or anything like that, you're going to be that much better off when it comes time to start pulling hair and stuff like that, because you're going to actually know how to use it in a real way. You're going to know when it's a good idea to do it and not a good idea to do it. Like, for instance, if I was on top of you and you tried to grab my nuts, if I was in the mount position and you tried to bite me or whatever it was, yeah, that's going to really fucking suck. I'm not going to like that very much. But you know what I'm going to do? Since you're leaving your head open, I'm going to go ahead and start pounding on it. I'm gonna stick a thumb in your eye. I'm gonna do something that you're really, really not gonna like. As much as I don't like that you're, I don't know, biting my nuts or whatever. Um, I'm not just gonna stop and be like, oh no, please let go, let go. No, please let go. I'm gonna make you let go. You know, and what I take from you is probably gonna be worse than what you're trying to take from me. You know, um, but like that's a different conversation to be had, you know. um the real difference between a street fight and a ring sport is the pace and the cadence, you know. If you want to be a good street fighter, not that that's a thing, not that that's a fucking thing in the first place, it's not, but if you want to be good at handling those kinds of confrontations, you have to be comfortable with the prospect of hitting someone first before they even realize what's going on, for one thing, which I'm not telling people to do that. I'm just saying on a conceptual level, you need to be comfortable with that. And then in addition to that, regardless of whether you throw the first punch or not, you have to be comfortable with being able to weather whatever they throw at you at in the moment, so that you can absolutely positively rush them with anything and everything that you have, trying as hard as you can to do whatever it is, whether it's you absolutely knock them out, you clean their clock, and now they're on the ground with their ass out or whatever, you know. You ever seen those street fights? Someone gets knocked out and their shoe goes flying or whatever, you know, some weird shit like that. Um, whether it's that, whether it's you like push them into a wall and they're just like, they're just leaned up against the wall and all fight has been taken out of them and you can get the hell out of there. Or if it's like you start throwing and they're just like, whoa, whoa, okay, I'm sorry, dude, I'm sorry, stop, stop, please stop. And they get on the ground themselves, you know? That's the real difference between a street fight and a ring fight, is that there isn't really a time where anyone's going to be like, fight. And you don't have to plan for what's going to happen in 3 rounds when your gas tank starts to empty, you know? You don't have to worry about that kind of thing. Um, we all miss Tyson. Yeah, and like Tyson is a great example of someone you would want with you in a street fight, because that was his entire thing, was like literally he and Cuss would have a conversation before his fights in the earlier days, and Cuss would be like, excuse me, Customato would be like, all right, tell me what you're going to do. And he'd be like, I'm going to go out there. I'm not going to feel him out. I'm just going to go right for him. I'm going to use my head movement. I'm going to use my forward progress. And when he makes a mistake, I'm going to capitalize on it. There was no like, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to be nice and loose. Going to throw a couple of jabs, see what he does. I'm going to wait for him to throw a couple of jabs. Oh, he's got this. All right, I'm going to get his timing all throughout round one. And I'm going to see what his game plan is, and I'm gonna try and set up my game plan so that around round 5, we can start doing this thing that we planned for. It wasn't that. It was like, I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna get right in his face. He's gonna make a mistake because that's what happens when you get in someone's face, and I'm going to put him on his ass. That's like exactly what you need for a street fight, you know? Oh, I figured it was gonna be what's it called? Thank you, Dick, for the $50. Thank you for the $50. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that for real. The reason why I looked confused is because I was waiting for the TTS. I was waiting for the TTS to hit, but TTS only goes through Streamlabs. It only goes through Streamlabs. So I was like, where's the TTS? He sent $50. He should get his fucking TTS, dude. What happened? But thank you very much for the 50, Dick. Thank you so much. Please keep streaming. There are a lot of us out here who stand with you but don't have the nerve to be on a platform. You're our guy. We need you to keep doing this. Hey, man, I'll keep doing it for as long as I can. You know, I'll do it for the rest of my life if I have the ability to. You know, like thank you, man. You know, and if it goes somewhere, then great. If not, whatever. I understand. You know, I do this because I like it. I do this because I enjoy it. I do it because it's like I said, it's an outlet for me. It's a hobby, you know. Everything else in my life is just like working for somebody else or making money so that I can give it to somebody else, you know. My wife takes all my money. My wife is asleep, sitting up right now. Oh, could you hear me a second ago?
No.
Oh, I was talking shit. I said oh, you know, my life right now, other than this, is just working for somebody else or, you know, getting money and then having to give it to somebody else. And then I was like, yeah, my wife takes all my money. I love you. But, what was I gonna say? Oh, yeah, like, I appreciate you guys for being here. You know, that for real. Thank you guys so much for being here. My view counts were never amazingly high to begin with, but even now they have kind of dipped. I remember for a year and a half to 2 years, I was getting between 300 and 600 views per stream. The whole total, you know, not peak concurrent viewers, but the total was like 300 to 600. Now I'm lucky if I break 250, excuse me, about 250. But like just the fact that you guys are here in general, I really do appreciate, you know. I'm gonna keep doing it because I like it, you know. Customato, straightest Italian ever. Ah, yes. That feel when we're watching 50-year-old Scott Sullivan streams with 12 viewers and he's still talking about that one goth chick in season 2 of Fish Tank. Hey man, they just don't make them like they used to. They just don't make Fish Tank seasons like they used to. Ever since Jet Neptune decided he was gonna give his son the reins, you know that? Ever since Jet Neptune gave his son the fucking reins. Ever since Jet Neptune gave his son airplane Venus fucking Fish Tank, it just hasn't been the same, man. From a fellow fighter, we love you, bro. Thank you, Dick. Thank you, man. You know? And yeah, that is one thing that like I kind of pride myself on, is being able to talk about things like honestly, you know? And that's part of the reason why I will never be accepted by what you could consider like the mainstream of the martial arts YouTube thing or whatever you would call it, you know. I'm not positive enough, and I'm not even likably negative enough to be accepted by them, you know. It's like Icy Mike. Like Icy Mike is a likable guy even though he's negative. But he doesn't do a ton of swearing all the time. And then in addition to that, he doesn't break things down on a level that are extremely, extremely nerdy or anything like that. It's just nerdy enough that there's people out there who are like, wow, I like this, you know? But like, again, a lot of it is hobbyist dudes, which like, there's nothing wrong with being a hobbyist. Being a hobbyist is like a really good thing, you know? But one of the things that comes with being a hobbyist is like, you don't really understand what of an MMA fight or a boxing match or anything like that is like on that level, you know? A lot of the time hobbyists are just kind of doing what they're told. They're not actually like developing as like an independent martial artist. They're just going with the flow of whatever their coach or whatever the whatever the whatever the current meta is, you know? Like that's one thing I saw on Twitter recently. I'll go ahead, I'll find the tweet. Bada bing, bada boom. I'll find that tweet in a second, but it is nice, you know, it is nice to have that outlet to be able to talk about this stuff, because like a lot of people don't talk about it even in the martial arts world for one reason or another. Yes, okay. I work in cybersecurity and my hobby is martial arts. I'm hated when I tell people any real shit. Yeah, because people, it's similar to what I was talking about when I was talking about like the way people's eyes glaze over and stuff like that. Oh man, fucking I have a when you look at a light, when you look at a light by mistake and there's a dot in your vision, I'm like, ah, great. And sometimes it's not even that. Sometimes it's a migraine. I don't see why I would have a migraine right now, but I always get nervous when that happens because it's like, fuck, what if it's a migraine? Oh no. But anyway, yeah, it's like the same thing happens in the martial arts world that happens when you try and tell a boomer anything. When you're like, oh well, actually, you know, the problem with foreign aid isn't actually even Ukraine. Not that I support Ukraine. Well, I do support Ukraine, but support giving like billions and billions and trillions of our taxpayer dollars to Ukraine. Like or again, like even the example that I'm bad at making up examples on the fly. I'm really bad at that kind of thing. But the same thing happens when you try and tell a boomer anything about politics. When you know more about a boomer on a certain political topic and you start talking to them about it and their eyes glaze over and they're like, huh? What? You know? Like, um, again, I'm bad at making up examples on the fly, you know? This just when you try to tell somebody about something that they think they already know about and they're just like, oh, huh? They're just not interested, you know? The same thing happens in martial arts, except what tends to happen in martial arts is if you don't get the, oh yeah, oh, if you don't get that attitude, what you tend to get is people who get mad at you and they try and act like you don't know what you're talking about and you're an idiot and you're gonna get killed or you're gonna get somebody else killed, you know? I remember there was this guy on Twitter a little while ago who said when you throw punches, you should lock your arms out. When you throw punches, right? Yeah. When you throw punches in shadow boxing, you don't want to go all the way out so that you're locked out like that, because what that's going to do is it's going to hurt your joints. It will eventually hurt your joints and they're going to lock up on you, you know? You're destroying the joints when you do that. When you throw, you got to throw so that you see there's a little bit of bend here, you know? So I'm telling people throw like this one dude who did like some fucking praying mantis bullshit was like, no, you see, you have to lock your arms out every time you throw. Even that right now does not feel good on my fucking elbows. Like, why would I want to do that repeatedly for years? And like when I told him, no, you're gonna hurt your elbows there, he got fucking mad at me and he was like, you don't fucking know what you're talking about. You need to branch out from that fucking Muay Thai bullshit, blah blah blah. It's like hearing people talk like that, it's like, dude, shut the fuck up, you know? I support giving Scott a USAID grant, a USAID. I like calling it USAID, a USAID grant, dude. Being in my position is tough, right? We're gonna talk about this tweet that I saw a minute, you know, we're gonna jump back to what I was talking about, but um being in my position is tough because I'm a Christian. I even started attending church again, right? I'm trying to make sure that I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to do. I'm trying to catch up, make up for lost time, I guess you could say. Not that that's actually possible, but I'm trying my best. And because of that, there's certain things that I don't want to do. I wouldn't ever want to run a crypto pump and dump scheme, for instance, right? If I ever got like just enough fame, like if I got Hawk Tuah girl fame, right? Scott Tuah girl fame. It Scott Tuah, Sullivan on that thing. That's fucking awful. But no, but like if I ever got that kind of fame where it's like I became a meme and I was trying to monetize that fame while I had it, I would not give in to the temptation of a crypto pump and dump scheme. I would not rug pull people because that would be wrong. However, USAID grants, gaming that system, if I'd known about that, dude, I've fucking forget about it, dude. And the thing is, I'm not stupid enough to just take that money, which I know is I'm getting lucky here. I'm not stupid enough to spend all that money. I'd be banking that money. I would have started a gym years ago under the not even under the guise. It's not even like a lie. I'd be starting a gym and I'd be like, look, we're helping out kids and teens here. Give money. Give money. We're helping out kids and teens here. Gives me that. Gives me that. Fucking that's what I would have did. Fucking and that's not even bad. Just for one thing, it's like I said, I wouldn't even have been lying. Like that's what happens at a martial arts gym a lot of the time, right? But then in addition to that, it's like that to me would not be bad. That would not be something that would be like against God's wishes. The money's gonna go somewhere anyway. You got people who they're pretending to run science experiments on how many times they can nut into a fucking sock before it starts standing up on its own. Um, but man, we're taking Scott Coin to the moon, boys. Hell yeah, dude. Scott Tuan, that thing. I can't believe I said it again. Ukraine could have won the war by now if they had local artists remake of the song Insane in the Brain by Cypress Hill, but switching out the brain lyric with the word Ukraine. Oh, dude. Insane in the Ukraine. Insane in the crane. Insane in the Ukraine. Insane in the crane. Insane in the Ukraine. Crazy insane. Got Ukraine. Insane in the membrane. Ukraine. Again, I was waiting for the TTS again. Thank you very much for the additional $10, Dick. Really, thank you so much. I always feel like an asshole because like there isn't much I can do other than just say thank you, and thank you though, thank you so much. That's why I say it 5 times before I move on. That's why I say it 5 times minimum before I move on because I want you to understand, Dick. But thank you again for the 10. You're the man, homie. I hope this grows, and I hope you reach more people. Gotta call it in. Peace, brother. All right, peace out, Dick. Thank you so much for being here, man. Hope to see you again soon. But yeah, anyway, so I want to talk about this, right? The tweet right here is BJJ Otter. There's a guy that I follow. He follows me. He does good jiu-jitsu content. But should BJJ schools just ditch warm-ups? At what point does it go past injury prevention and become a waste of time? I actually responded somewhere here. Oh yeah. But so this is from Reddit, right? Warm-ups. Just why? I already don't fucking like this guy. So I dropped into another school while I'm traveling, and wouldn't you know it, we do line drills. Well, what's the fucking problem, dude? You dropped into a school that you don't typically go to when you're only traveling anyway. You're already being a fucking asshole, dude. You're going into somebody else's house and being like, why do you decorate like this? It's not your house. I coach, I understand the point of warm-ups, get your blood flowing, prevent injuries, and learn a little technique. You probably coach kids classes, you've probably never actually coached an adult class, because this is a very, you never see brown belts and black belts complaining about anything that another coach does. If they hate it that much, they'll just find a coach that is doing it the way they want it to. But they're never gonna go visit another school and then be like, dude, why are they doing it differently at this different school that I don't usually go to? Why does everybody insist on doing line drills, outright calisthenics, or just dumb shit like shadow boxing? That is a little bit weird, shadow boxing in a jujitsu class, but still, it's like, it's not your fucking class, dude. You don't like it, go somewhere else. I can do push-ups at home. I can drill a shrimp. I can drill a shrimps at home. This guy types like I do. I can't drill a shrimp escape with body weight on me. Well, in order to drill a shrimp escape with body weight on you, you're going to have to warm up first. As you said, it gets the blood flowing and prevents injuries. And it also gives you an opportunity to learn a little bit of technique and to continue practicing technique. There's a saying in the jiu-jitsu world, drillers make killers. And that's what the warm-ups are for, is for you to get a little bit more practice with the basic movement that you're going to have to use later on in the class. But you don't want somebody jumping right on top of you right away so that you can do mount escape, or so that you can do escape from side control, or half guard, or anything like that, because you're going to have to use your muscles in a way that is going to create strain. And if you go from cold to strain right away, your chance of injury increases drastically. But anyway, skills are what people are paying you for. My favorite form of warm-up is just light pummeling into level changes to a takedown of my choosing, and I don't even finish it. Just light hand fighting and methodical entries. I enjoy Toreando passing. You can increase the complexity with higher skill level. These drills warm you up and have a purpose. It's a large portion of grappling at higher levels as well. I'm not saying to get rid of warm-ups. I understand as a coach that they reduce injuries and increase customer retention. Well, there you go. It increases customer retention. This is a business, dude. Martial arts is a business. What the hell, like, right then and there. Oh, they reduce injuries and they increase customer retention. Well, those people are choosing to do their warm-ups in a certain way that don't include doing fucking actual grappling. It is what it is. But I will die before I sit on my phone for 30 minutes while my jiu-jitsu students run circles and do push-ups. Why is this terrible practice so persistent and common? Is it really that hard to think about skill acquisition being the main objective? And you see, this is the result of Western, and I know Brazil is Western, right? I know Brazil is in the West, right? But and me, like, I'm not big on insulting or denigrating the West, meaning like Europe and America and stuff like that. I love America, you know. I'm America first, damn it. I'm America first is what I am. But regardless, like, we in America, we have a certain jiu-jitsu culture that does not exist in a lot of other places. One of the only places it exists outside of America, and Canada for that matter, would be Europe. If you go down to Brazil and you start complaining about the instructor, everyone's going to be like, dude, shut the fuck up. It doesn't matter that you coach the kids class. That's the black belt. This guy's probably a blue or a purple belt, and he thinks he knows the way. This is the Redditization of jiu-jitsu, and this is what you get with it. Every blue belt, every purple belt, every one-stripe brown belt thinks that they are going to be able to, like, change the world of jiu-jitsu by complaining like bitches. And you can tell this guy is probably a tech bro, right? Because you see, skills are what people are paying you for. This is a very tech bro, like, aha, I'm good with computers. I get straight to the point. This is the kind of guy who I guarantee you argued with his teacher in school, his history teacher. He was like, well, actually, this is what happened back in 1913. You got it wrong. That book has it wrong. He's that guy, I guarantee you, you know? This is just one of those classic examples that's very similar to what I said about the bias towards small people, smaller grapplers, where people, they have their preference, and instead of either A, going to where their preference is preferred by everybody else, or B, just being like, okay, there's a vision here that I may not 1,000,000% love the hell out of at all times, but there is a vision here. They're doing it this way for a reason, and maybe I should just shut my mouth and like be okay with it and trust the process. Instead of that, what they're gonna do is they're gonna complain about a place that they don't even go to regularly. They just popped in once because they happen to be traveling and they wanted to get a little bit of training in. And then they're gonna go and they're gonna bitch and moan, you know? It's just the stupidest shit. It is the dumbest fucking thing. And that's what you get with a lot of hobbyists. This is very much a hobbyist blue belt thing. This guy, it would not surprise me if he's a blue belt with like 2 or 3 stripes, or a purple belt with like a stripe or 2, maybe even 4 stripes, you know? People talk about the blue belt blues. There's also the purple belt ego. The blue belt blues is the idea that when a lot of people get their blue belt, they start thinking, well, I mean, I still get beat up in class. I'm kind of tired of getting beat up in class. And most people don't even have a white belt. So the fact that I have a blue belt means that I could beat the hell out of most people in the world today. So why would I keep going to jiu-jitsu? I have everything I need. I'm not worried about trying to beat the black belt. You know, if I saw somebody with cauliflower ear, I'd just apologize to him. I don't want to fight somebody with cauliflower ear because that probably means they're a better grappler than me. But if somebody attacked me randomly, I'd probably be able to kick their ass because I'm a blue belt and they're not even a white belt. So I'll go ahead and I'll just stop going to jiu-jitsu. Like, that's the kind of thing that happens with a lot of people who get their blue belt. You never see them again after that. But there are people who stick around and they get their purple belt one day. And what happens a lot of the time is they start believing that they're a black belt before they're even a brown belt, you know? And Reddit, just like with the toaster fucker community, you know that there's a saying about the internet where before the internet, before chat rooms, before Reddits and things like that, subreddits, if you had crazy thoughts about wanting to fuck a toaster, you wouldn't have anywhere to share those thoughts, and because of that, you would eventually grow out of that thought. You'd be like, yeah, nah, I don't think I need to be fucking toasters. But nowadays with the internet, if you decide you want to fuck toasters, you can go to r/toasterfuckers, and you can talk all about the exact kind of toaster you want to stick your dick in. And because of that, the bad habits, the bad ideas, the bad attitudes, the bad fetishes, in that case, they just grow. And a certain identity evolves around them. And before you know it, depending on what it is, you might even have some kind of weird social movement regarding it, you know? That's what you're seeing with kid diddlers and stuff like that. That's what Map and No Map was, you know? Was their attempt after they were given spaces to be able to interact with each other. That was their attempt at a social movement for acceptance, you know? Now, am I saying that jiu-jitsu guys are pedophiles? Yes. No, obviously not. But what I'm saying is, when jiu-jitsu and the new internet, with all these chat rooms, with all these places for people to hang out and talk and all this other stuff, when they mixed, what you got was a culture of the people who don't actually know what they're doing or what they're talking about, questioning all the people who do know what they're doing and do know what they're talking about. And all because some bald, crippled dude who taught a roided out fucking like chronically ill fucking like cuckold in Texas, because those guys do it a certain way, well, that means it's the best way to do it. And if I might only be a blue belt, but I mean, if my black belt is not doing it the way the Australian cripple and his cuckold steroid guy, if my black belt's not doing it the way they do it, well, then that must mean my black belt doesn't fucking know shit. So I'm gonna go to Reddit and I'm gonna complain about him. Is what I'm gonna do. You know, it's the dumbest fucking thing. You know, and I'm sick of seeing shit like that. I'm sick of dealing with people like that. You know, the types of people who they see I don't have cauliflower ears, so they assume that I got my black belt off of like a fucking, out of like a cereal box or something like that. When the reality is I just know how to grapple without having my ears constantly grinded all the fucking time because I'm not a bad grappler. Fucking, Not to say that someone with cauliflower ear is a bad grappler, but it's cauliflower ear is another conversation to be had. It's another conversation to be had. The bottom line is you have this weird Reddit ideal of what a grappler is and what a grappler is not. And if you don't fall into that, well, you have a bunch of people who don't actually know what they're talking about, who will decide that you magically don't know what you're talking about and that you shouldn't be listened to. One of my favorite things is, what tournaments has this guy won? What tournaments have you won? What tournaments have you won? How many MMA fights have you had? Oh, none? None? You haven't had an MMA fight because they won't allow you to wear a long sleeve rash guard and tights? Is that it? Is that it? Oh, you had a jiu-jitsu match inside of a cage? That's totally the same thing as an MMA fight. Yeah, definitely. That's an MMA fight. You're right. That's it. Totally the same thing. How many street fights have you been in where jiu-jitsu has gotten you out of it? I've been in not more than I can count, but more than I can count on one hand. I'll say that much. Oh man, but I haven't won Mundials. So that means you shouldn't listen to me, you know? Instead, what you should do is you should complain about other people's schools and the way they do things on Reddit, you know? It's so stupid, you know. We got this kid in, right? He's fresh off the boat from Brazil. I haven't talked to him too much about that yet, but his parents don't even speak English. He has to come in and translate for his parents and stuff like that. He's a good kid, I can tell right away. And he did jiu-jitsu in Brazil. He is a yellow belt, which a yellow belt is a kid's belt, but as far as a yellow belt goes in terms of kids, it means you've been doing it for like 3 or 4 years or more at this point, depending. And you kind of know what you're doing by now. And I see this kid come in and he's just on a completely different level from even the other yellow belts that we have in my class. And that's not because I'm a bad coach or my coach is a bad coach. My coach is the one who decides when we're going to give out belts and stuff like that. You know, I don't decide that kind of thing. I let him handle that. That way I can avoid all the politics and stuff like that. But it's because of the difference in culture down there. If you're doing jiu-jitsu down in Brazil, that's a serious fucking thing that you're doing. And you got to take that shit serious, because if you're not taking it serious, your black belt's going to give you hell for it, if he even lets you continue coming, you know? And it doesn't mean that you're stuck there. It just means that there's no like, oh, this guy didn't give me a stripe like I wanted, I'm going to go to another place and get a stripe. That's not how it works. That's how it works a lot in America, you know? And that's because people have a certain idea. It is a business, but excuse me. They come into this place expecting it to be transactional in the way that a business is, where I'm paying you, so you have to give me everything that I want all the time, no matter what. They think that's the way it goes, when the reality is you're paying me and my coach and whoever else to instill certain knowledge into you and to help you to act out that knowledge. And this person's methods are not going to be like that person's methods. But the bottom line is they're both black belts and their methodologies are going to work. So if you don't like it, it's cool. You can find a place that fits for you. I'm not saying you have to stay in a place that is bad for you, like you don't like it or you're not developing in the direction that you want to develop as quickly as you want to. If that's the case, you need to get out of there, because you do need to take care of yourself. But also the attitude, the snark, the again, that transactional belief where it's like what this dude said, you know, skills are what people are paying you for. Fucking, I don't give a fuck what you're paying me for. If you're gonna disrespect me by coming to my class, and then because it's not everything you wanted, you're going to come on Reddit. The next time I see you, if I was able to figure out it was you, I don't hang out on Reddit like that, but if there ever was a situation, I'm putting you in a fucking bow and arrow choke, and I'm not going to let go the first time you tap. I'm going to hold it. I'm going to hold it a little bit longer. I might not put you out, but I might make you a little bit nervous, you know? Or better yet, I'll be like, oh yeah, you're talking shit, huh? You want to, you know, we got some pairs of gloves here. Fucking, it's childish, you know, it's childish, it's stupid, and it's the result of our transactional culture, you know. Well, I'm paying you, so I deserve it. It's like this isn't you're not buying a candy bar from a store. You know, you're not ordering an item off of Amazon. You are paying somebody to help you to work until you have earned it, you know? But hey, it is what it is, you know? Um my sensei had us do 100 push-ups, sit-ups, and squats each, then wall sits and wall handstands until failure before every class. And that's another piece of it too, is that there's a conditioning aspect to it. Um, One of the best ways to condition is to do what you're doing, right? But you also have to be careful because if you're doing too much of it, you're going to one, burn yourself out, but then two, in addition to that, you increase the likelihood of injury. It's a lot safer to do sprints than it is to physically fight somebody. So because of that, we don't call them senseis, you know. Some people will call them professors. I feel weird when somebody calls me professor. I have a guy in my class who calls me Professor Scott or Professor Sullivan, and it's like a weird thing. I'm like, ooh, I haven't told him not to do that, but I am kind of like, oh man, he really just called me that. Oh fuck. But like that's what'll happen sometimes, you know. We used to do a hard warm. My favorite instructor was this dude. He was like 6'4". He was perfect for me because he was a big dude who did big dude stuff, and he was good with it, right? He actually had good form, and his techniques were like legit, you know. Um but like my favorite coach ever, he used to have us do warm-ups for 15 to 20 minutes. And when I say warm-ups, what I mean is we would start off with some nice light warm-ups for about 5 minutes, and then the rest of the warm-ups would be conditioning drills. And you'd be nice and fucking tired. Then he would show us a technique or two, just like one technique, maybe two, and then he'd have us roll. And then after we were done rolling, he'd have us finish the warm-up. That's what he called it. That would mean we were going to do more conditioning. And I kind of liked it. It was an embrace the suck kind of thing, but I enjoyed it. I hated it in the moment when he was like, all right, guys, time to finish the warm up. I'd be like, oh, fuck. But like afterwards, I'd be like, that was nice. That was good. You know, at the end of the day, everybody learns different. Everybody is a little bit different. And to have like spoiled brats, you know, who really say like, skills are what people are paying you for. And then he goes into what he likes. My favorite form of warm up is just light pummeling and level changes to a takedown of my choosing, and I don't even finish it. Oh, great, that's your favorite? I don't recall asking. I don't recall asking anything about what you like and dislike. In fact, if I recall, I told you to get out of my face and do these fucking shrimps, bitch. That's what I remember. That's what I fucking remember, you know? I'm just tired. I'm just tired of blue belts, is what it is. I'm tired of blue belts and purple belts, if I'm being completely honest with you. People who don't know that much, they know a little bit, but because they know a little bit, they think they are a lot more experienced and a lot more knowledgeable. I had a phase like this myself when I was a blue belt. Everybody does. Everybody does, you know? But eventually I realized, like, oh, maybe I should just shut up and continue learning. Maybe that's what I should do. Maybe I should keep my mouth shut. That might be a good idea. I'm just sick of blue and purple belts, though, who are like, oh, dude, but like, this isn't the way Gordon Ryan's coach does it. This actually, you know, Craig Jones said, I don't give a fuck what they think. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. You know? Like literally when you're a brown belt and you have this blue belt who is like 300 pounds and he has to start on the ground because if he starts standing and tries to do takedowns, he is literally going to tire out before a takedown happens, and he's going to tap and he's going to be like, I need a second. When someone like that tries to coach you through a move when you're just taking it easy on him and waiting for him to work, it's like, dude, shut up. I literally had that. I told this story. It's been like probably 6 months since the last time I've seen this guy, and I'm so thankful that he has not come back. Fucking, he's not even like a bad guy per se, but he has some really, really bad habits, you know? We're doing pass the guard, which pass the guard is a drill where you don't do submissions. What you have to do is try and pass the person's guard. He tried to pass my guard, it didn't work, right? So he starts doing dirty shit. He puts his hand on my jaw and he starts trying to crush my head into the mat, and it's still not working because I'm not a fucking blue belt. I'm not going to panic in that situation. I'm able to keep calm, and just because my head is doing one thing, it doesn't mean the rest of my body can't defend. And then eventually when he starts getting tired, instead of just tapping out and being like, "Man, I'm exhausted," what he does is he slips in a fucking Americana really quick and cranks it to the point where I'm like, "Yo, what the fuck, dude? Stop." You know? So not only am I not expecting there to be submissions because there's no submissions in this, and he as a blue belt has definitely done past the guard before. He knows what's allowed and not allowed, meaning submissions are not allowed. But in addition to that, he's doing it like as quick as he can. You know, like just doing it as quick as you can, trying to crank it as hard as you can, so that I tap, and then he gets to sit there and be like, "Oh man, oh you're right, oh dude, my bad, I didn't mean to do that, haha, but I did just tap you out, so I guess that means I win." Like that was his move, you know? It's like when you get dudes that are like that, it's just like, shut up. And I can tell this is one of those guys. This is one of those guys who does it because he has an ego problem and he thinks he could be the coach, but nobody's going to take him seriously as a coach of an adults class. So because of that, he has to do it with like the little kids and shit like that. And he thinks that that means he can comment on what an adults class is actually supposed to be like. Kids jujitsu is just glorified babysitting a lot of the time, and maybe every now and again in America it is anyway. Like I said, in Brazil it's a different culture, but in America it's basically glorified babysitting, especially with the way a lot of these parents have their kids. They just bring them there to dump on you for an hour, so that they can chill on their phone and do whatever they're doing on their phone. Um, fucking like you're just playing games with them and stuff like that a lot of the time, and then like finally you get to teach them something and they do it half-assed, and no matter how many times you tell them, no, 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 you can't have your arm here, you have to have your arm here, every time they do it, they do it here. They have their arm here instead of here, like you said, you know. It's just like stupid. Like that's what this guy's doing all day, is he's just he's playing capture the belt with a bunch of kids, and he thinks that gives him the ability and the right to be like commenting on other people's schools, which again, it's not even his school. He's just traveling. What a fucking dumbass, you know? Anyway, I'm a 5-time Tickle Kumite champion. Can't prove it, but try me and find out what it's like to giggle until your inner organs turn to soup. Hi, Ecuador. I'm gonna see you there this year. I made the qualifying round. I'm gonna see you there this year. You better watch it. I'm growing my nails out to get a little bit of extra tickle. You should make them call you Master Sullivan. That's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna do. Baby, master in Portuguese is like maestre, right?
Mestre.
Mestre. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make them call me Mestre Sullivan.
Yeah, it should.
Yeah. Mestre Scotch. Scotch. That's what my mother-in-law calls me. She calls me Scotch. It's funny. Baby. We need a stream with your mom one day. It can be me and her on camera, and you can be off translating for us. That'd be the dumbest fucking thing. That'd be the worst idea. Yeah, I am gonna get off in a minute though. I want to read a couple more. I'm actually 20 minutes past what I originally wanted to do. And there's a piece of me that kind of wants to make the pancakes now. I'm not gonna though. I'm not gonna. It's way too late. What's the kind of week-to-week time frame for doing BJJ classes and actually progressing? I do weightlifting, and I already don't go to the gym as often as I'd like to, so the idea of adding 2 to 3, I would assume you mean 2 to 3 days training. I mean, look, some training is better than no training. If you can only make it to a place 1 time a week, that is 100% better than making it 0 times a week. Literally. If you improved from 0 to 1, you have made a 100% improvement. So there's that. But I would say minimum you want 2 times per week. The more the better, and it is a little bit easier to get more training nowadays because back in the day you didn't have like strictly jujitsu schools, but you're seeing more and more of those pop up as time goes on. When I first started the brand of jujitsu that I was training, they had the words Fight Club in their name. You know, like they called themselves a fight club because they were still kind of sort of dedicated to MMA. But as time went on and as jiu-jitsu grew as its own brand independent of MMA in America, you started seeing people who were like, nah, I'm not even going to bother having striking classes. I don't care about having MMA guys. I just want jiu-jitsu. That's it. And because of that, they changed their name eventually from Fight Club to just Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. That's what they did. But yeah, just if you can sign up for a place and make it worth it, then do it. You know, it doesn't matter if it's 1 day a week, 2 days a week, 3 days a week, or 5 days a week. It doesn't matter. You know, if you can only make it to 1 class per week, but then you make it to the open mats that they most likely have, a lot of places will have an open mat where you just show up and roll with anybody who happens to be there. That is, I'm not saying that's perfect, but that's really, really good. You know, like so go for it, Avery, for real. You know, don't let anything stop you. Just get your ass in there, fucking sign up, and just go whenever you can. That's all you need to do, man. You know. Oh, excuse me. Zachary says, I did kids karate from 98 to 99, and it was luckily pretty well done from what I can remember. I don't know what all the Tiger Schulman stuff is like. Yeah, I don't know either. Will be funny to see Scott drunk on Scotch whiskey and call him Scotch Sullivan. That would be funny. I was actually gonna drink some tequila tonight, but it just didn't work. It didn't work. It didn't work. I couldn't make it work. I remember at least holding out some heavy stick and planking until failure among people a few years older than me. Yes. Local Heroes and Adventures Guild sounds awesome. That does sound awesome. But anyway, I gotta be honest with you guys. I gotta take a big shit right now, and I was gonna get out of here soon anyway. All right, so I think I'm gonna just go ahead and do that. I think that's the move. So, yeah, thank you guys for tuning in as usual. I appreciate the hell out of it. I didn't think people were gonna tune in. I gotta be honest with you. I'm quite surprised, but you were here, you were queer, and I got used to it. So. Thank you though, guys. Thank you so much. I will see you Wednesday most likely. I might stream before then. We'll see though. Yeah. Peace out.